Welcome to another episode of Mexican in the Kitchen. I have a pot of water that is about to boil. It has about 4 liters of water and I added some salt to it. I would usually add half a big onion, but I only had these small ones, so I added 2 really small ones. After that, I'm adding my meat. For this recipe, I would usually use 600 grams of meat that is a bit more lean. And then I would use 500 grams of some meat that has a lot of bones. This is usually made with the whole head, but you can also use pork spine. We still have to season this, but we'll let it boil for a while and you will notice a lot of foam will start to come up at some point, so we'll wait for that. Our meat has been boiling for about 10 minutes now and you can see it has some foam. I will just very quickly use a spoon to remove all this foam. After that we can add our seasoning. I will now add 3 or 4 bay leaves. I will add some thyme, some majoran, and I will add some oregano. There is a lot of variations and some people also blend some garlic and the onions we cooked, but we just want to enhance the taste of our broth. We don't want to change it too much because that will be still the base of the pozole. This has been boiling for a bit under 2 hours now. You can tell water has reduced a lot, so the flavors will concentrate. We have now a very nice broth. Now we're checking if this is ready, and the way we will do that is taking a piece of meat. At this point I will use 2 spoons to check on the meat, and the meat is quite tender. It's not falling apart stuff, but you can already cut it with a spoon, and since we are still going to boil it for a while, then it doesn't matter, we can use this already. I want to shred the meat, so I will take everything I can with the spoon. I will try to take as much of the meat as I can and just put it on a separate plate. I will now use a strainer and a second pot to filter my broth. This step is not mandatory, but I like to remove all the herbs and the onions and everything, so we have a very smooth and clear broth. The meat has cooled down a bit, so now I can take it and use 2 forks to shred it. This doesn't have to be perfect, but let's keep it into small pieces, and this will make our soup way nicer. I have my broth back into the original pot. I just put it back into the fire, and now we're about to add the corn. Cooking this kind of corn usually takes quite long, but using this pre-cooked corn that comes in a can, it's quite easy. You just have to rinse it a bit. I got mine from Lastunas.fi, so if you live in Finland, just check it out. It's a really nice store with Mexican products. I'll leave the link in the description. After the corn, we will add our meat. And once we have added these both ingredients, then it's the perfect time for us to taste our broth. We added some salt at the beginning, but it might not have been enough. At this point, there's also a chance that the broth might not be as strong tasting as we would like, especially if we, for example, use some chicken instead of pork, or if we didn't use any bones. But in that case, we can also add a couple cubes of chicken bouillon, and then that should correct whatever we're lacking of flavor and seasoning. After that, we'll boil this for between half an hour and an hour. Basically, this is up to you, because the soup will be ready at the point that you're happy with the consistency of the corn. Just keep an eye on the corn, taste it from time to time, and that's all we need. For serving, I will use this iceberg lettuce chopped into small strings. I will also slice up some radishes. I'll chop small onion into small dice and slice a lime to add some acidity. Now we're ready for serving. For serving, I will usually serve the plates, making sure there's some space for the toppings. And I will have the rest of the things on the table so everyone can use whatever they want. At this point, I will just add some of the radish and the onion. I will add some oregano. I will also add some chili powder. Usually it will be chile de árbol or chile piquín, but here I just bought regular chili flakes, put them in the blender for a while and made powder out of them. Then we can squeeze some lime into it, and we'll finish topping with some of the lettuce. Usually on the table we also have some tostadas, which is a corn tortilla that has been either deep fried or thrown in the oven for a while to make it crispy. This is how I make pozole. I make this white pozole because it's what my family used to make. My dad used to make this every Independence Day. We would have big parties, and then even if we wouldn't have a party, he would make these on that specific date because that's apparently what you're supposed to do. A lot of people make it for those kind of gatherings to celebrate because it's very cheap, it's quite easy to make, it's very rich because you have a really rich broth with the pork. You have the corn that gives a lot of texture, it makes you full, and it's quite cheap. Then you have the vegetables that give some freshness, crunchiness, the acidity of the lime, some chili, oregano, balance the flavors really well. And then you have a crunchy tostada to go with it, or tortilla chips. It's a really nice dish. You will find probably red pozole, green pozole, depending on where you live. I hope you try this because this is definitely a signature dish from Mexico. Really nice, really easy. Hope you liked the video. Press like, subscribe, all those kind of things, and see you in the next one.